Hello everybody, Ben Smith here with eTrends Tax and Accounting. Hey, every day we're getting more details about all of the various pieces of legislation that have either passed and been signed into law, or those that are still in progress, like the CARES Act, which just passed the House today. By the way, it is the 27th of March, 2020. Today I'm going to talk about the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. This was passed a week ago, and it provides sick leave to employees across the country and provides credits to employers who provide that leave all across the country. This act has a number of parts. We're going to talk about two sub-acts within it. They are called the Emergency Paid Sick Leave Act and the Emergency Family and Medical Leave Expansion Act. But we're not going to do all of that in one video. We're going to break this up into a couple videos to make it watchable. You're welcome. Right now, this part, we're just going to do the Emergency Paid Sick Leave Act. Before I tell you anything about it, I want you to understand. I had a client about an hour ago email me trying to figure out how they get out of this act, if there's any way that they don't have to comply. Of course, the reason they think that is because they think it's going to cost them a lot of money. And I'm not saying that this act doesn't have any negative consequence for employers. It does. Certainly, you might have employees gone, but hey, if you like your employees and they're sick, then you should probably, for the good of the country, for the good of the employee, for your own good, probably let them be home. The point being, though, that this act is not designed to be some sort of, it's not pushing the responsibility of the coronavirus onto employers. The federal government is paying for all of the sick time that is taken as a result of this act. The employer is not. The employer is a pass-through entity. The employer is responsible for writing the checks and for getting the refunds from the federal government. Obviously, there's some difficulty in that. I'm here to help you. It's not necessarily super easy to deal with the government, but the government is not trying to make it hard. They're trying to do everything they can to get this money to employees, and they're doing it through employers. So that's the first thing you should be aware of, okay? You're not going to be stuck with the bill as an employer. So let's talk about this act. It's applicable to employers with fewer than 500 employees. It requires them to pay sick leave to their employees under certain conditions. And there's kind of two groups of conditions, and the required amount of sick leave paid is different for each group. Let's talk about group one. These are for employees who are quarantined, employees who are self-quarantined due to a doctor's recommendation, or employees who are experiencing symptoms of the coronavirus. Obviously, that is self-diagnosed, right? You wake up in the morning and say, hey, feels like I could have the coronavirus, I'm not going to work. For these three reasons, quarantine, self-quarantine, or symptoms, an employer must pay their employee sick leave of 100% of their wages or salary up to $511 a day. Okay? Now let's talk about this other group of conditions. If an employee is home caring for someone who is in quarantine, don't ask me how that works without being in quarantine themselves. But if an employee is home taking care of someone who is in quarantine, an employee is home taking care of kids who are out of school because school is closed, or an employee is home for some other reason that is yet to be determined by the Department of Labor, then the employer is required to pay that employee 100% of their wage or salary up to $200 a day. $200 a day, $511 a day, those are the caps. And that's up to 10 days, okay? 10 days, that's it. Employee gets 10 days. Again, if you're paying these costs as an employer, the government's going to reimburse you. They will either reimburse you on Form 941, which is your quarterly employment tax return, so there's that option. Or if you don't want to wait or can't wait, no one wants to wait for that kind of money, there will be an expedited refund option. We don't know the details, and as soon as we do, I'll let you know. This act goes into effect on April 1st. That's next week, April 1st. And my hunch is by April 1st, we're going to know what that expedited refund process is for employers. So stay tuned and listen for that. I'm sure that'll be useful for many of you. It will allow you to pay your employees the sick pay and to quickly get reimbursed from the government and not wait until you file your payroll tax returns in July. Okay? So again, this act is effective April 1st. By the way, the refund or the credit that you get as an employer includes the full amount of the sick pay you pay, up to $511 a day for Category 1 and up to $200 a day for Category 2, and health insurance costs. So you're going to pay health insurance to these employees while they're out sick. Guess what? The government's also going to give you a refund of that portion of your health insurance costs. So this is not a bad deal for employers. It allows them to respect their employees, to keep their workplaces healthy. It shouldn't cost too much other than a little bit of implementation cost, which that's part of being an employer. It's not a bad deal, okay? We'll talk about the next part in another video. Hope you're having a great day.